Hey there, y'all. It's Amanda from the Little Bluebird Gallery, and I'm going to show you how I've been experimenting a little bit this morning. I'm going to show you how to paint buffalo check plaid with a flat paintbrush and with palette knife. So if you're here with me, leave me a comment and let me know that you're here so that I can chat with you while we do this. And if you're watching the replay, you can leave a comment if you have questions. I can still see the comments. I get little notifications when people comment on different things. So if you have a question and you're watching the replay, then I'll try to come and answer it for you. So what I've been doing this morning is just trying to play around with some paint and try doing this with a palette knife and with a brush. And you know, I don't normally use brushes, but it's kind of hard to paint squares with a palette knife, but it is possible. So let me turn my camera down over my work area and I'll show you what I've done so far. This will be a little rocky for a second. Let's see. Hi everybody. All right, let me get my stuff set up here for you. Okay, so this is what I worked on this morning. And this area up here was done with a brush. And this down here was done with my palette knife. So depending on how perfect you want it to look, well, this up here doesn't look perfect either because I don't do perfect. But depending on how much control you want over your pattern, you can either use a flat brush like this. This is what I used up here for this. Or you can use a palette knife. And the one that I used down here was something, I think it was this one. It's not quite as sharp of a point as the one. This is the one that I normally use for everything. But I used this one, and I'm going to show you how I did it. And I added these cute little pumpkins on top of this just to get an idea of what it's going to look like as a background. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to move this to the side for just a minute and show you first. This is kind of a recycled. This was something that I had bought probably at a dollar store that had something on it. So I just gessoed over it. Let me get my light working a little better. Alrighty. The first thing I did was, if you notice, when you look at the buffalo check pattern, it goes like this: black, gray, black, gray, black, gray, and then under that, gray, white, gray, white, gray, white. So I took some gray, which is, let me find the right color. This is just called pale gray, and my flat brush. Now, depending on how big you want your checks to be, you're going to have a brush the right size for that. So if you're working with a big canvas and you want your checks to be big, then you're going to need a bigger brush. So these are going to be about this size right here. So I just take my gray first, and I started making just a line across. It doesn't have to be a perfect straight line, but the best you can do. And then you skip a space that's about the same size as your brush and make another gray line. And you just keep repeating that pattern. You skip a space about the size of your brush and make another one. And you could do this on just about anything. It doesn't have to be a background. You could turn it into something else. I'll let you decide how creative you want to be with your actual painting, but I just thought I'd show you how to make this pattern, and that way you can use it on whatever you want to use it on. So I'm just going to put a little tiny streak down here. Okay, and then you turn it over and you do it again. Same thing. And buffalo check can be different colors. So you could do this all gray, like have a lighter gray and a darker gray. You could do it with the black added in there. You could do it with turquoise. You basically just need 3 shades of a similar color. So if you were doing this with turquoise, you would just need the white, of course. Then you would need a really muted, lighter turquoise, and then a dark turquoise. And I know that y'all can see that my lines are not exactly straight, but that doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, then you could use a ruler or grab a piece of cardboard or something to make your lines a little straighter. Okay, so there's the beginning. And now what I did was took some black paint, rinse out my brush a little bit. And remember we said the pattern goes black, gray, and then gray, white, gray, white. So you just take the same brush and you go in here. We made this line go across like this. So you need to keep your brush in that same, you don't want to do it this way. You want to hold it the same direction and just go across and put in the black squares. And the quicker I go, the easier it is for me. Because if I try to do it slowly, then it gets a little more shaky. If you have areas like this, see where I swiped and I didn't go all the way across, you can just go back and straighten it up a little bit. Okay, so I can't see your comments. Let me scroll down. Hi, everybody. Deborah said she's tempted to try this on her shelves instead of purchasing shelf liner. That could be interesting. Okay, so there, the one I did on the paper is a little more messy because after I did this and got to this step, then I pulled my brush through the black, and then I took some more gray and went back in there. But I'm not going to do that with this one. because I think it made it look a bit too messy. So here is the example of it with a brush. And if you want to go back and make some more gray squares in there, or you want to really make your white show up better, then you can do that. You can add more white in these lighter areas right here. So then that could be your background. You could do whatever you wanted to on top of it. Here is how I did it with my palette knife, which looks messier, but I like messy. I'm going to just use this canvas here. And it's exactly the same thing that I did using the brush, except I'm going to use a knife. So I got a good bit of paint on here, and then I'm just going to pull it across. And if you like for things to be symmetrical and perfect, you're not going to like this. I'll just go ahead and tell you. And then you just skip a space. Pull it across. Skip another space, and we're going to do the same thing we did with the brush. This takes more paint, of course, because it's thicker. Get a little bit more gray. Somebody said that would be cute with a chicken on it. It would be cute. Okay, and you can see that my white is a little bit wider than my gray, so I'm going to go back and make my gray a little bit bigger. So this one's going to be, the checks are going to be bigger than they were on the other one. And the bigger your canvas, I would think that the bigger you're going to want to put your checks, because it's going to take forever to do lots of tiny ones, unless you're just doing it on just one little portion of your painting, like a banner or a tablecloth or something like that, that you're putting the checks on. So have you all noticed how many things in the winter and fall decorating this year have this pattern? It is everywhere. Okay. I'm going to have to add some more paint. This kind of shows you how much more paint you have to use when you're using a palette knife too. Because I just had a tiny bit when I was using that brush, but this goes on thickly, and all that texture is going to be there too, which I really like. And this one, instead of adding a lot of black, I think I may do just a darker gray. So this background's going to be a little bit different in color scheme than the other one. Okay, so here's the beginning. Let me see if I have, oh, I have like a navy blue. I'm going to try that. And I know it's going to mix with this gray a little bit anyway, so I'm just going to stir these around. Let's see how this turns out. Let me check comments. Tony said, do you use different sizes of palette knives? I went to order one and didn't realize there were so many sizes. Yeah, you can use different sizes depending on how big the painting is that you're doing. Do I prefer the palette knife rather than the brush? Yes, I always like the palette knife better. That's a good idea. Tammy was talking about doing some red. That will look Christmassy and cute. Okay, so like we said, the checks go dark, light, dark, light. So depending on what you're using, we're going to go, this one's going to be this bluish color. And you just kind of make a little square. That's not going to be perfect. And it shouldn't be perfect. And then we're going to skip a row and do it again. And like I said, you could do this in any color scheme that you choose to. Most of the time, like if you were doing the red, it would be more like a red, then a pink, and then a white. But you could play with it and see how it looks when you try it with different colors. If you just Google buffalo check plaid, or if you type it in Pinterest, it's going to pull up curtains and pillows and blankets and art and just about, I mean, clothes, everything right now is buffalo check plaid. I'm just barely touching it. So, and I'm using the tip of it because if you push down with the back side of it, then you're going to get too much of a line there. It's going to come over too far. So I'm really just kind of drawing a square with the tip of the palette knife. So that is the buffalo check with the palette knife versus this one that we did with a brush. So the technique is a little different in that the way that you put the paint on, but the way we did the pattern was the same. So depending on what kind of look you're going for, if you'd rather have a little messier, looser look, then you could do this one. Or if you want a more, this one's still a little messy. I mean, they're not perfect, but and this one's bigger too. But with this one, I tried to do the same size checks. Let me move this over. Do the same size checks with my palette knife here and with my brush here, so you can kind of see the difference with that. But like I said, depending on how big you want your checks to be, or how big your canvas is, or what exactly you're doing with the checks, you may not want to just do an entire background with it. You may just want to do like a little table runner, or you could have, I guess I could have painted from here up one color and then had the buffalo check down here, or vice versa, or whatever. But I just thought this was a fun little way to add something trendy to your artwork, or anything that you're doing for your home, or anything like that. Jean said she didn't know which one she likes better. And you're welcome. I think I like this one better, just because I like things that look messy anyway. But you could definitely do that if you're more of a brush person and you like the idea of it looking a little more tidy and predictable. Then you could go with that one. And this one may take some practice. If you want to try to do it with a palette knife, you're probably going to have to try it a few times before you can get it down. And also, I didn't put anything underneath as far as white paint goes, so I'll probably go back with some white and just put that in those areas where that is, so it's not just a bare canvas there. But I'm probably going to use these backgrounds and do something with fall, or I don't know, I guess you could do something Christmassy, because red would look really good with this black and gray and white, or orange looks really good with the black, gray, and white too. So just about any holiday. So I'm looking at comments here. Karen said she needs the mess. That's her life. I just like to paint messy, because when I try to paint and be precise, it makes me stressed. It's not fun to me to paint that way and try to put all those tiny little details in there. It just makes it too icky for me. And Jean said she likes the pumpkins. I have some other Facebook Live videos where I did some pumpkins. If you want to go back and look at those, you can see how to do those. They're really easy too. I'm not seeing any other questions right now. But thank you all for watching, and if you're watching the replay, thanks for staying with me to the end. And like I said, you can use this in your artwork however you would like to, and creative ideas. Apples in a basket, that's That's a cute idea. What size knife did I use? Well, this one came from Blick Art, and it has a number 44 on there. However, I'm not sure that a size is going to show up when you're looking online. But if you want me to, I can try to find the link to this one. It's really, let's look at it according to the size of my thumb. It's just an average, smaller sized palette knife that's covered in paint, and I want to peel it off. But there's really not, it really doesn't matter that much, is what I'm trying to say. I know that a lot of times people want exact things that I'm using as far as paint and paint colors and tools and things like that. But if you have a palette knife, just play with the one you have. And you all are very welcome. I hope you enjoy trying it yourself. And if you do, let me see it. So take a picture of it and send it to me on my Facebook page. I'd be happy to share that with other people. And you're welcome, Karen. I'll see you guys next time. I'm planning on having a Facebook Live painting sale on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So I want to make sure that I let you know that. But I don't see any other questions here that I can answer right now. But I will see you all on Thursday night at 7 Central Time here on my Facebook page. Y'all have a great day.